Hey guys, welcome to WDWNT Nerd Alert. I'm your host, Hogarty, and joining me tonight is Jack McCarthy.
Howdy, folks.
So in tonight's show, we are up to round 4 of the Marvel DC March Madness, and now we're up to the Sweet 16. And, I hate to say this, but it seems pretty crowded with the DC in the brackets, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, DC's heroes are, I'd say, shot for shot. Most of them are in a league far beyond the Marvel ones.
Yeah, they're very overpowered.
Sad. I think in the Marvel side, the villains are a little bit more overpowered.
Yeah, like Count Nefaria.
All right, part of me is disappearing. I'm going to turn this background off.
Okay, go ahead. You turn.
It was fun while it lasted, but no, gotta turn it off.
Background off. We're also going to review episode number 2 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'm going to hear Jack's opinion on episode 1, since Charlie and I covered episode 1 last episode. We'll also go into the latest news and possibly answer some listener email depending on the time. So, Jack, I heard from you that you actually got to saw Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, what's the opinion on it?
Well, it took me a few tries to get through it. I was watching it, and the first piece of it put me to sleep twice. Literally.
Like
I fell asleep.
The first 2 hours?
Like it took me a long time to get through the first hour. And even after the first 2 hours, I kind of felt like nothing much has happened yet. It's really slow going.
That's what I told you.
Yeah. And it was a chore to get through the last 2 hours. It was tough. Like I said, I've said before, I think I just don't get Zack Snyder because this was not enjoyable. It was joyless.
Do you think it was more enjoyable than what Whedon did?
Yes, actually I do.
Yeah, me too. Slightly.
Whedon's cut, it annoyed me a bit with the little Slavic family.
Yeah, me too.
There. That part annoyed me. There were also a few fun moments that was Whedon humor that obviously this movie needed it because, like I said, Snyder's cut was extremely boring. I have to say too, don't put Superman in black. He doesn't need to be in black.
Yeah, I like
Superman's supposed to be light, the embodiment of good. He doesn't need to be wearing black. You've got Batman for black.
I think he was influenced by the fans because they wanted to see him in the black costume, but that doesn't mean the whole time,
Well, it also means, the comic book reading audience is this small. When you're spending that money for a general audience movie, you got to take into account this many customers versus that many. He might have the comic fans, but let's face it, the comic industry is hurting for a reason. It's because the comic fans are growing up and they've priced themselves out of the market for younger kids to join. And this movie wasn't for younger kids anyway.
That's true. Yeah, it's rated R.
I didn't notice if it had a rating on it, but this movie is fundamentally flawed. Both the Whedon version and the Snyder version. It's just not good. It doesn't work. And I mean, even bits like the ending, I get where, the portal is opening and the dark seed's going to walk through and everything. Very dramatic, but I kind of miss them pulling the cubes apart and the big explosion. And the two of them are on the ground and they're like, oh man, let's not do that again. That, I feel
Cyborg says I can't feel my toes,
Yeah, just a little.
Or I can feel my toes.
Yeah. And then, it cuts this shot where they're all standing on the top of the top nuclear reactor tower, and they're all giving the big hero pose, looking at nothing at all, really. They're just staring, looking heroic. It's like, come on. I knew this wasn't for me. I am reading online how people can't wait to see a black and white version of it.
He released it today, Zack Snyder.
Why?
I don't know. Can't you just adjust your color on your TV set?
No,
that's my biggest problem is that all people are praising Zack Snyder like he's like the second coming, and they want him. And I've never seen so much press for this. Even when they released the Star Wars movies, this is getting so much unneeded press. And I think that he manipulated the fans. I think that he said, well, my version was 4 hours and it was totally different. And if you saw my version, I think you'd like it better. And everyone's like, we need that version. And he kept egging them on by releasing, little screenshots of his version, and, kept building and more people wanted the Snyder cut. And I don't believe when he says that he didn't receive a cent for it. I think he's full of crap. I think if anything,
maybe he didn't receive money up front.
Yeah, but he got
it towards the promotion, the fees, that something built into the fee structure with HBO Max.
And they're releasing it on 4K Blu-ray, and it says Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I'm under the impression that he's got to get something from it if his name is on the top of it.
That could be it. He could get it from a cut of the DVD sales, or any merchandising, because I think what's his name, McFarlane, is releasing a series of action figures based off of the Snyder cut. Well, I mean, they look good. I got to say one thing. McFarlane does make some pretty nice looking action figures.
Yeah.
But this was a joyless movie. It just wasn't fun. And a superhero movie's gotta be fun. And a superhero movie, including some of the most recognized pop icons in the world, should be written where a kid can watch it.
Yeah,
that's just the comic book superhero genre. It should be written where a kid could go see it. If a kid wants to see Superman, if he wants to see Batman or Wonder Woman, they should be able to see it, not this morose, dull 4-hour thing. If I never sit through it again, I'll be fine.
Well, that's the main problem. I'm not going to waste 4 hours of my time watching this again. I'll fast forward to key scenes. Yeah.
The nonsense of, this was only the first part. You had 4 hours to tell a story and it wasn't enough. I mean, he's going into Peter Jackson realm with The Hobbit.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, come on. You had 4 hours and you couldn't tell a complete story. This had to be part one. It's like, come on. I hope the guys at Warner Brothers say, okay, you know what? Everybody's crying for it. They got it. This is the end.
Well, Warner Brothers had to make some kind of money if they green lit it, or they anticipated that they were going to make some kind of money by doing it, or else they wouldn't have done it. But what bothers me is, again, I think Snyder's manipulating the fans. I think he put that little teaser of like the post-apocalyptic world where Superman is now the bad guy and the new Justice League, just so that he can do Justice League 3, and he said what he wants to do with Justice League 3, which again, he makes it like this was always a plan. I don't believe it. I think, again, he's either using fan fiction. Listen to this. You tell me what this story sounds like. So this is his plan for Justice League 3. So it's going to take place.
What about 2?
Oh, I'm sorry. Justice League 2. I'm thinking of Man of Steel. Oh, he tried to say that it was a trilogy. Maybe it was Batman v Superman, Justice League. Yeah, you're right. It's Justice League 2. So this is his plan. It's going to take place, in the future where Superman is evil and everything. So what happens what leads up to Superman, is Lois dying and all that. He also says Lois was pregnant, and that's why in this movie, when Superman finally stops fighting the Justice League in Justice League, that part, the cool part.
Yeah.
He says that Superman can sense that she's pregnant, and that's why he stops. I'm like, come on, So
And I
anyway,
got what you meant about the scream.
the
When he
4x3
dies at the beginning, how it echoes out in waves. Like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Speaking of that, people are complaining about the slow motion. So IGN checked it out. Apparently, it's 24 minutes of slow motion in the movie. I mean, I guess it's not
It
bad
felt
for
like
a 4
4 hours of slow motion.
So anyway, so what happens is Lois dies in the future, and that basically makes Superman go nuts. What he doesn't know, apparently, is that Lois gave birth to a child, and his name is Bruce Kent, and he has no powers. And he's basically, I think he's being hidden from Superman. And so Superman kills Batman. He blames all of this on Batman, so he kills him. So the Justice League, the other ones that we saw, Mira and Deathstroke and
Right.
Joker and all that stuff, they're still around. But what happens is Bruce Kent grows up, and Batgirl takes him under his wing, and he becomes a new Batman. And so his whole thing is to take down Superman. What does that sound like to you?
Let's see. If Zack Snyder goes his way, that sounds like 6 hours I'd never get back in my life if I watched.
It sounds like Star Wars, doesn't it? Where he has a pregnant wife.
It sounds like he's going back to the well because everyone wants to see Batman versus Superman fight. So this gives him a story to have another attempt at that movie.
I'm just saying, he's got a pregnant wife. She dies, turns him dark, but they hide the children so he doesn't know about the child. That child goes on basically to become the chosen one to defeat Superman. What does that sound like? I mean, it sounds just like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And you don't think that people would say, all right, wait a minute. This is just a ripoff. I mean, there are a lot of Zack Snyder fans that would love it. And I think, again, what's bothering me is I heard that the executives at Warner Brothers are receiving death threats from fans because they want the Snyderverse. They want him to take control of the DC movies, and they want this Justice League. And again, I think that he's poking them to do it, by putting this crap at the end of the movie. I mean, it was interesting, but realistically,
it wasn't interesting. It wasn't needed. It was totally superfluous. It was ridiculous.
There's no way that those 5 or 4 could do anything against Superman. When you think about it, he could have just blasted them right away and it would have been over. It's just, again, it's to manipulate the fans into pushing Warner Brothers into getting him to be contracted to make a whole series of new DC movies. And it just pisses me off.
Well, the thing is, the other guys who have done it have been doing the DC movies, have done it just a much better job at a comic book movie. The guys who did Shazam, the guys who did Aquaman, you could say what you want about Aquaman, but you know what? That was a fun movie. And it looked pretty good. I don't know about you, but I thought the CGI in this Snyder cut, it looked, I just thought it was a mess. It was just a slog of throwing stuff at the screen. It just didn't look good. You look at the Avengers movies where they're fighting an army of robots, and that looks good. There's still a certain crispness to the screen and the image. This mess was just like layer of layer of layer. thrown on top of each other, and it just, once again, maybe I don't get Zack Snyder, but I can't believe they would give him reign to put together another Justice League movie. I think this is it, folks. This is all you're going to get.
I think there were some good things in it. I think a lot of the action scenes were really cool. But again, it's a 4-hour movie. Are you going to waste your time to watch this over and over again? I don't think so.
No, there's very little I would even fast forward through to get to the good part.
I did watch the last hour and a half over the weekend, when Superman comes back and then you see them fighting and Superman joins them against Steppenwolf and all that stuff. I think that stuff's kind of cool. It's different. Like, I missed the part where, like you said, Superman comes in with his blue and red costume and he says, I believe in, or I'm a fan of truth and justice. That's a cool line.
And tolerance now.
Now it kind of reminds me, did you ever see the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2?
Yes.
And it's interesting. It's fun to have, but I don't consider that canon. I consider the Richard Lester version, the theatrical one, as canon. One of the things that bothered me in that was, you remember when Superman comes back, he gets his powers, and then he ends up standing on like the little flagpole, and he says, General, would you care to step outside? So that was Lester's line. So Donner cut that out and he put in, General, don't you believe in the power of the press? And I'm like, oh, that just ruins it. That's like one of the most classic, iconic lines that Superman has ever said.
It was a good line.
So it's like, it's nice to have both movies, but we'll just choose. I will watch the action scenes again, but I'm not going to watch this whole movie all the way through. Oh, another thing too. And again, he's making up all this crap. So he said his whole idea with the Asian scientist that they added in this one. So his idea was for him to be the Atom in future movies.
I did pick up on that. I saw that little mention. I'm like, is he supposed to be Ray Palmer? But that wasn't his name in there. I didn't catch it, and I wouldn't rewind to go back and look.
But he said his plan was to basically shoot the Atom in China, to get more of a Chinese audience and stuff like that, and that would take place there. And I'm like, whatever, it's like, stop giving this guy a platform to talk, because it's just annoying me. I think he's just making up stuff. And again, he's poking the fans to like type in Warner Brothers, tell them that you want this. And then when he says it, it's like, no. And he was like, well, Green Lantern was supposed to be in it, but Warner Brothers was against it. And I wanted, not Hal Jordan, but
John Stewart.
John
He
Stewart
was pushing for it.
Yeah. And they said, no, we don't want John Stewart. And then he says, all right, well, I'll put in the Martian Manhunter instead. So that scene at the end was...
Oh, even the Martian Manhunter bit was like...
That was forced.
That wasn't...
It didn't make any sense. I said it last time.
And him being the general, that makes no sense either to me, because we didn't see anything from the general that would say he was something different than what he was. And if the Martian Manhunter is supposed to be good, and he was watching all the death and destruction that was going on in Metropolis during Man of Steel, that doesn't say much for his scruples as a superhero.
Oh, yeah.
No. All that death and destruction raining down from the sky, he was still hanging out in Washington doing whatever. And as a Martian Manhunter, he could have gotten his butt there in a very short amount of time to help.
Also, with Batman v Superman, he could have helped with Doomsday.
Yeah, he could have.
Yeah, it just makes no sense. I think he's making up all this crap.
And I didn't like the look of the Martian Manhunter either.
I liked it. I thought it was okay, but I thought it was stupid for him to...
I have your problem with Don Cheadle with the Martian Manhunter.
With this actor?
Yes, as War Machine, because Martian Manhunter is supposed to be big. He's supposed to be brutish looking. This guy looks like Marvin the Martian if he took off his helmet.
Oh, you mean not the actor, but the CGI?
The look of the character, yeah.
Yeah.
Martian Manhunter is supposed to be, just as, if not more intimidating looking than Superman. So you would have to get somebody at least Henry Cavill size, but a bigger build.
Mm.
And what we got, like I said,
And did it make any sense?
I don't get the love. I don't understand it.
Did it make any sense for him to turn into Martha and talk to Lois?
No. Like, why?
Yeah. It's just there's a lot of this stuff does not make sense. It's like he's throwing us the kitchen sink. Like I said the last time too, why is he meeting with Alfred? Do we really need that scene?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's good to hear. I'm glad that you watched it,
I'm not.
I know. All right, let's get into the news.
Okay.
So Black Widow is now opening in theaters on July 9th, and it will also be streaming on Disney Plus the same day as a premium movie with a premium service. So are you excited?
I am looking forward to the Black Widow. I mean, I think it looks fun. I like the fact that the Russian super squad is now like her family. That's just the way it seems in the commercials, the trailers. And, I have faith that Marvel is going to give us a fun, exciting movie. And I think we're going to have a good time when it comes out. And honestly, I can't wait to get back to the movies.
Yeah, me too.
So I wouldn't go buy the Disney premium, whatever, because I want to get back to seeing things on a big screen.
I'm right with you, Jack. Plus, I don't want to spend $30 on a movie I don't know if I'm going to like.
Really?
What do you mean, really?
Well, because even if you don't like a movie, you go back and see it 2 or 3 times to determine how much you hate a movie.
Not every time. I mean, sometimes I don't even finish a movie and I walk out and I never see it again.
That's a rare film. Dude.
No, it's not.
Yes.
I've matured quite a bit within the last couple of days.
Okay. Next story.
So Andrew Garfield's stunt double was actually seen on the set of Spider-Man. Where is it called? No Way Home with Tom Holland. So Tom Holland is full of crap. You basically see him, see the suit from Spider-Man. I think it's the first Spider-Man. I could be wrong. The first Amazing Spider-Man.
I mean, the suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was really,
I think,
good. The most comic book accurate suit in any of them.
I loved it.
I thought that was great in that movie.
I did too, and I really liked the eyes. Who was that like? Was it like Bagley? Or Bendis? No, Bendis was the writer.
No, Bendis is right. It did have a very Bagley look. I mean,
his eyes were big.
Yeah, but it looked good. It looked accurate.
I loved it.
It didn't look Halloween costumey. It didn't look Power Ranger-y. I mean, I really do like the MCU costume, but that's like a little bit of an update on a Spider-Man suit. For core comic book accuracy, Amazing Spider-Man 2's costume really had it.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I like the Tom Holland costume that the eyes move, that's pretty cool.
Well, that actually gives him a little bit of emoting. Like he doesn't have to tear the mask off as often because, you get to see surprised, the little eyes go, or he's focusing on something and they squint. I mean, that's a nice touch. And it makes sense in the MCU costume. If the eyes were doing that in Amazing Spider-Man 2, it would kind of be like, wait, how's that happening? But, we'll see what happens. But I hope so they're going to use it from the first Amazing Spider-Man.
It looks like it. I don't know if I can post this picture or not because it's on Twitter. I don't know if it's copyrighted. I'll give it a shot, see what happens. If they might take down the video. I don't know. But Yeah, no, I think it looks like his first costume from Amazing Spider-Man 1. Could be wrong. This could be the lighting, but that just goes to show Tom Holland's a liar. That kid annoys the hell out of me now. That he was doing all these
He's
mistakes.
playing the game. He doesn't want to be labeled like Mark Ruffalo is.
He's a
That
jerk. He's 25 years old. He really does act like he's 15 or even younger than that. Like he got so upset that Spider-Man was in the MCU that he cried to Sony, and then he took them he unfollowed them on Twitter and Instagram. I was like, dude, you're an adult. I mean, you're an actor and stuff like that. You're still going to play Spider-Man. You don't have to be in the MCU. You should just be friggin' happy that you got a job. And I don't know. He's starting to annoy me. Sorry.
obviously he's starting to annoy you.
All right, so Pierce Brosnan is joining the cast of Black Adam as Dr. Fate. What do you think?
I don't know much about Dr. Fate as a character to say, hey, this is really good or this is bad. So I don't know enough. Pierce Brosnan I've always liked him since back in Remington Steele. I thought he was a great Bond, even though he's not your type of Bond, but I thought he fit that role very well. I like Pierce Brosnan. I'm sure he'll be good in Dr. Fate, depending on the material he has to work with.
Well, again, Dr. Fate was never one of my favorite characters. And again, I'm like you, I barely know anything about him. I know his costume and all that. He's kind of like Doctor Strange, I guess, for DC.
Yeah, but isn't it that, once again, don't know enough. It's the helmet is Dr. Fate.
Yeah, it has
because the whole personality, and the powers are all in the helmet. So does he possess whoever wears the helmet? So I don't quite know how that goes. But like I said, I don't know enough about the character to really say too much, but Pierce Brosnan is good. So I'm sure he'll do the best he can with whatever material DC gives him to work with.
Well, number one, I don't like the fact that they're making a solo Black Adam movie. I think that's dumb. Even though The Rock is popular and everything, it just annoys me that he's not appearing in Shazam first. I mean, that should be who he should be fighting, period.
Well, I mean, I would like to see if they do Black Adam as his own story, that Black Adam 2, Shazam 2 would be when the two meet. And that would be good.
Well, they greenlit Shazam 2. I forget what it's called, something with the gods or whatever.
I know they greenlit it, but we haven't heard much about it.
I think they said some girl joined the cast as a villain just this week, actually. And but like again, I think that Rock is a nice guy and everything, but I just feel like they give him too much stuff, and they're going to keep doing it because his movies make a lot of money.
He does make a lot of money just by being on the movie.
It's called Fury of the Gods, and it's supposed to come out in 2023. And they cast Helen Mirren as the villain. What is the villain's name? Hespera.
Right, well.
Hespera, daughter of Atlas. Anyway, I never heard of her. I think she'd be good. She's a good actress, and I liked Cate Blanchett as Hela in Thor.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking along the line. I could almost see her playing a role like Cate Blanchett did in Thor Ragnarok.
And I get them confused, those two actresses. So
no, I don't get them confused.
I do.
But she could play it like that. But she's very good. So once again, depending on the material they have to work with.
Yeah.
I just don't have the faith in Warner Brothers to make a movie as fun as the MCU does. I just don't see it.
Well, you kind of like the first Shazam. You thought that was kind of fun.
No, I mean, I was, and it was a great surprise. And the same thing, I thought Aquaman was a great surprise. Like, hey, it's very, very video gamey, but it's fun, and it was an enjoyable 2 hours versus a
Yeah,
movie that puts you to sleep that's 4 hours long.
Yeah, can you imagine a 4-hour Shazam movie?
The thing is, if they could keep up the consistency of the entertainment value, it wouldn't be as bad. You could make a 3-hour Shazam movie,
Yeah,
as long if you're going in a theater and you're enjoying it and you're engrossed in the characters and you give a darn about the characters. 3 hours will go pretty quickly. And you got to admit, there was a lot of heart in Shazam.
No, there are things I really like. The only thing I had a problem with Shazam was I felt that they introduced the Marvel family too quickly. I would have liked them to see them in the sequel. Just kind of focus more on Shazam and all that. Maybe Freddy could have been Captain Marvel Jr. in the sequel.
Well, I think they had, the way the story went, they kind of had to, because they had to even the odds somehow.
They didn't have to.
Well, you had Captain Marvel versus 7 demons. I think they wanted to even the odds, but when they did it, it was still fun.
It was, but I'm just saying I would rather them have seen them in the next movie. I think I would have been excited to know that. Again, I didn't know that family was that big. I guess they just added to the family. It used to be Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel when I
right. I think they did add a few more in there.
Yeah, they did.
But you know what?
They're cool though.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I like them. They're more diverse, but I like them. They work. They all work. But let me just rant on Pierce Brosnan. I can't stand him. I just can't stand him.
I know you don't.
I don't think he's a good actor. He's a good-looking guy. He's always been a good-looking guy. He was the worst Bond ever. Oh my God. That was like the dark times for me.
I know it was for you.
Timothy Dalton should have been done GoldenEye, and it would have been so much better. People say, oh yeah, GoldenEye was a good movie. I watched it recently. It's not as good as I remembered.
It doesn't hold up.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But it's still enjoyable, but it doesn't hold up.
He's just a horrible actor. And the way again, I don't know if it was his idea to play Bond the way he did. He was kind of like breaking the fourth wall, looking at the camera at times, and just a little too jokey, always adjusting his tie. Like when he was in lots of problems and stuff like that. I just couldn't stand him. And I was like, every time I was like, oh, maybe he's going to step down. It's his third Bond. Nope. They gave him another one. I was like, oh no, this is just horrible. I had to be for 10 years.
You didn't like The World Is Not Enough?
No.
Oh, I thought that was great.
It had its moments, and I think he was a little more darker in that one, which I appreciated. But it
was the fourth one with Halle Berry. That's where it went back to some of the Roger Moore hokiness. So
yeah, with the surfing with the tidal wave. All right. Anyway, I can't stand him. Let's get all right. So last story. All right. So Michael Keaton says that he's not 100% sure if he's going to be returning as Batman in the Flash movie. And basically what he said, he's kind of busy. He hasn't read the script yet. He hasn't really gotten back to Warner Brothers. And he's also concerned about making movies because of COVID. He doesn't know where they're going to be filming it. And he's afraid that, what if I film the movie and it's still kind of very active over there. So he said he's very selective about what kind of movies he's doing. And right now he says he can't find the time to read the script, and he's got other projects he's working on. So he's really not sure if he's going to come back. Doesn't kill me.
I have no opinion on it, because for the Flash, I like the Flash from television. I wasn't thrilled with the Flash in Justice League as far as anything else. I couldn't care less about the Flash watching that movie. So I honestly have no excitement about Flashpoint at all. I mean, it sounds like it could be an interesting concept, but I'm really not. I have no enthusiasm to see this. I would have to say it falls into the Joker category for me.
Well, again, I think if you saw the Joker, you'd probably like it. Well, maybe you wouldn't, but the performance was really extraordinary.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. I just have it has no appeal or interest to me whatsoever. And I think it's Zack Snyder's fault.
I did too.
You know, I honestly just don't care about much of what Warner Brothers does with its DC movies. I really don't. I'd like to see another Shazam because I really enjoyed that. I might even enjoy another Aquaman, but anything that's going to be spin out of their Justice League property, I just don't care. And that's a terrible thing for me as a comic book reader, a lifelong comic book fan, that here it is, these movies come out, and if I just can't get excited about it and I just don't care, then I don't know. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the studio.
No, it's not you. That's
Probably.
why
It's just there's just something fundamentally wrong with the DC
EU.
What is it called? What do they call it?
DCEU.
The DCEU. There's just something that fundamentally doesn't connect with me. And there are people who love it. I just don't understand it. So
I'll just say, like, I recently watched Man of Steel. I was trying to like watch all these movies before the Zack Snyder Justice League. I like Man of Steel. I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he's really good. Oh, speaking of Superman, have you watched Superman and Lois?
yeah, I'm liking it.
Me too. I like it. I got no problems whatsoever. I think the cast is really good. Like I said, I think Luther is pretty cool, if that is Luther. Because now I'm not so sure.
Alternate timeline dimension Luther.
Well, he was. So. Did you watch the most recent episode?
No, I have it on the DVR. Right. I haven't gotten to it yet.
I won't tell you. Oh, so now they're going on hiatus. This is like the last episode until May.
Yeah, that they're going to give the slot back to Supergirl. And then when that wraps up, they come back, I believe. That's the plan.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see DC Legends of Tomorrow come back.
Yeah.
That's a fun show, Joe. You should, that's another one you should check out. You may not go for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. DC Legends of Tomorrow is a fun show.
Oh, I'm thinking of Infinite Crisis.
And they run with it.
I'm thinking of Infinite Crisis, you know.
Yeah,
or Crisis on Infinite Earths. The whole crossover thing.
Right. But I mean, they had a whole episode that they built up for one joke. And it was the callback to Wrath of Khan, that Genghis Khan came back and he's up to no good.
Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan, yes. And you're watching it and you're like, they got to do it. They got to do it. And eventually they go with it where, you know, the scene of one of the guys is looking up at the sky and yelling, Khan! And, once again, they set it up so it's supposed to be dramatic, but they know it's going to be funny, and they've run with it. I mean, and that's Legends Tomorrow. It is just a fun, off-the-wall, the most comic booky TV show on television.
Yeah. But no, getting back to Superman and Lois, Tyler Hoechlin, he is awesome as Superman and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
I'd say he comes after Christopher Reeve for me now. I think he's better than Henry Cavill. I think he could probably build himself up a little bit. But
you see that, but that's just it too. I don't think Superman has to be looking like the Hulk.
It's not to look like the Hulk.
Henry Cavill, if Henry Cavill had better material to work with. I would say he'd probably be my favorite Superman. I think he has more of the Superman look than Christopher Reeve had. For me, I think Cavill, when he's in the suit, he's got the Superman look. It's just what they give him to work with is terrible. Emo Superman. We don't need an emo Superman. We don't need grim and dark and, brooding Superman. No, that's what we have Batman for.
But that's why you got this show, Superman and Lois.
And that does the great mix. Like the opening episode, when he saves the kid and the kid goes, "I like your suit." And he's like, "Thanks, my mom made it." And he flies off. That is Superman.
Yeah, no, I mean, and he's nerdy too, like where he fumbles and stuff like that. And, there's a lot of like in Smallville, everybody, like they're into country music and all that stuff. And like he'll show up and they're drinking beer and watching football. And he's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And like, nobody wants to hang out with him. They're like, nerd,
Yeah, but the thing is, Smallville was okay at the beginning, but No,
I'm talking about Smallville where they are now in the show.
Oh, you mean in the show? Yeah. The only bit I really don't care for is the bit with Lana Lang. Her and the husband, some
sort of abusive relationship.
Yeah, but that storyline just doesn't. That just bothers me.
You know what I don't like is Lois's father knowing everything about Superman and him being a jerk.
Well, he was a jerk in the comics too.
But did he know about Superman?
I don't think he knew about him, but I guess after they got married and have kids, I guess the dynamic changes a bit. So that's why I guess they're like, well, you know what? We should kind of bring him in on a secret or something. But that part doesn't bother me too much. But once again, he's the same jerk he was in the comic books. He was always a jerk to Lois. But now and a little bit to Superman, but now he's a jerk to Clark Kent as well. So,
yeah, I don't like that guy. But don't you think he's a little overpowered when he's like sitting at the dinner table and all of a sudden he hears a crack on a bridge in China and he's like, "I gotta go." It's like, come on.
No, I mean, he does that in the comics. They address that in the comics too.
Seriously.
And that's the stuff they addressed in Man of Steel too. Remember when he was freaking out in the school?
China. I mean, and it just was a crack. It wasn't like people were screaming or anything like that. It was just like a little crack. I just think that was a little too much, but
okay.
All right, let's move on. So my point is, with Michael Keaton dropping out, I'm not looking forward to Flashpoint because again, I think that if they do Flashpoint, again, I think they're going to try to bring back Snyder to do the next Justice League because it'll lead into that, possibly. Also, if Michael Keaton's going to come back, let him do Batman Beyond. Give him a more substantial.
That would be, Batman Beyond was a great series. I think the comic book is doing pretty well as also.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
I would like to. I'd definitely be up for a Batman Beyond movie, but don't put it in the hands of Snyder. Leave that guy out of it.
Yeah, I think that would be good if they did a Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, but even that, don't let it be influenced too much by Frank Miller either. We don't need to see The Dark Knight from Frank Miller brought into Batman Beyond.
He's a little darker in this though, because
he is darker, but not.
No,
Frank
he's not
Miller dark.
Frank Miller dark. No, that was Affleck's Batman. Basically, he was Frank Miller's Batman.
No,
he was in Batman v Superman.
I don't think he was Frank Miller's Batman is pretty much psychotic.
Well, that costume was basically from.
Oh, the costume, yeah, but I mean the character himself,
but he wanted to kill Superman.
Even the character Batman in Batman versus Superman was kind of off.
Well, that's what I mean. I think that was more like Frank Miller, and then even in this one, he used the F word in Justice League. Zack Snyder's
Yeah,
version.
there was quite a bit of naughty language used
Anyway,
throughout, which I
yeah,
thought was surprising.
no. Again, it's not for kids. So, and I forgot to say we were leaving Jack to join Charlie Hunter to talk about episode 2 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we're doing it now. So welcome back, Charlie.
Well, it's great to be back. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you're back.
I didn't know it was a regular thing. I thought I was a special guest, but it's really, and then it's great to know that I'll be here for the whole 6.
You're stuck for 6 episodes, yeah.
Stuck. Well, wait till you hear what I thought about this week's episode.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, I might have some of your thoughts. Anyway, I'm trying out a new camera, and it's pissing me off because I can't get a cool ass virtual background like Charlie has. It's all pixelated. It's annoying. I'm not going to show everybody. We'll just get into what we're about to talk about. All right, let's get into it. So, Charlie, the most recent episode was called The Star Spangled Man. What'd you think?
Well,
rated out of 10 too.
Okay. 3.
3. Oh wow. Okay.
Well, okay. No. 4 then. 4. 3
No,
sounds.
No, you get to no. 3 is okay.
3 sounds really harsh. 4.
I don't want to like influence your voting and stuff like that, but
if I say 4, and then based on the questions that I might have, that score might go up.
Okay.
I don't think it'll go down. Let's start with 4. I just so many things and so many things that I thought was wrong with the episode. I don't actually know what it's trying to do. It felt like a bit of a mess. It felt like after last week's really strong start, the stark contrast between this episode and last week's was great. You know, all the really tender moments, the character development and everything else. And this episode just goes, it almost feels like The Rise of Skywalker to The Last Jedi. It's almost like that didn't exist.
Wow.
It almost like all that setup we did in number 1, just going to chuck out the window for this one, if that's all right. So, yeah, 4. Sorry.
That's okay.
Thanks.
I will say it seemed a little rushed. Like all of a sudden, and I could be wrong because I only watched it once. Didn't like Bucky just meet up with Sam? Like they were just together?
Yes, that's definitely on my list. But wait a minute.
Okay, all right. I'll give my opinion. So yeah, I mean, I like this episode. I like what is his name? I keep forgetting his name. Oh, the U.S. agent John Walker. Got to think of Johnny Walker, right?
Oh yes. Good vintage as well. Yeah.
I like Johnny Walker. I like Battlestar, his teammate. And I liked what was going on for the most part, but I had some issues. But I'm not going to change my score. I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, again, and I'm going to stop comparing it to WandaVision, but this is way better for me. But I'm kind of enjoying it. So do you want me to go through the episode?
Yeah,
basically.
Can I just start with one overarching question about the whole thing?
Sure.
Is Steve Rogers still alive in this universe?
Yeah, he is.
Right. Where is he?
Well, actually, we don't know. I mean, I doubt he's...
I went and had a look at the end of Endgame. He's still around.
Well, he could have tripped and fell and died
on
the way home.
What a inglorious end for Captain America. But yeah, he's still around, which then gives me about 5 more questions that I've got because he's still around.
No, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. I never thought about that, but it's possibly, what is it? I think it takes place, I could be wrong, like about 6 months after Endgame.
Yeah, he's still around. Well,
you don't know. I mean, he could have slipped in the tub, A lot of things. He's pretty old.
I think we would have known about that. The reason why...
No, we wouldn't, because he's being hidden.
Why?
He doesn't want anybody to know that he's still alive. Just those select few.
Why? What would happen if...
Well, that's my point too, is that...
He's coming in this series at some point.
I would like to see him, but I don't know for sure if that's the case.
Given. It's a given.
You think so?
Yep. It's an absolute nailed on. So if my theory is correct, and my other theory is correct that he's still alive and he's going to appear in the series at some point, then here's my first bugbear. Why? So they keep saying, oh, they, have endorsed this new Captain America, Walker. They've endorsed it. Well, he's obviously been through some sort of selection process. He's obviously been through some sort of, training. He's obviously, all this decorated war hero and everything else like that. So if Captain America was still around, and Captain America goes, well, I'm a bit old now, but I'm going to pass the baton to this guy, and look at all the decorations he's got and everything else. Nope, nothing like that.
I 100% agree with you, Charlie. And that was one of my points too that I was going to bring up, is that Captain America or Steve Rogers doesn't decide who the next Captain America is. He didn't decide he was going to be Captain America. It was the military. It was the government that decided we have to choose a soldier, for this super soldier serum program.
Yeah.
And then he became Captain America, but he basically is kind of like an employee of the government, a little bit of SHIELD and stuff like that. So yeah, I always found it weird that they're like, he says, all right, you're the new Captain America. That's like in Star Wars, like The Rise of Skywalker, where they're like, oh, Poe, guess what? You're the general now. Leia's dead. It's like, cool. Finn, guess what? You're the general now too, because I need a general. But they were always doing that. They made.
Is it like a bit like Oprah? A general for you, a general for you, a general for you.
But they did that in Star Wars. It was like Han Solo, you're a general. Lando Calrissian, you're a general. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
That's not how the military works here. So I agree with you there. I just don't think that it's up to Cap to decide. I mean, he can consult with the government. Like you said, maybe he's still alive. And like I said, maybe he slipped in a bar of soap and he's not.
I don't know where you get this. All right, Captain America, if Captain, he's still got the super serum, as a granddad, he could probably still take most of the people in the world.
But he's like 100 years old.
Well,
I mean, on top of the 100 years old that he was frozen. So,
what, does somebody with the super serum never die then?
No, they die. I mean, so maybe his time came in like right after he gave the shit. I'm just, again,
and nobody thinks to mention that. Well, we're talking about Captain America.
You make a very good point. But again, I think that they also respect his whole idea of being left alone and not known. But I also felt, and I felt this way at Endgame, that this was one of my biggest problems. I felt it was cowardice what he did. He basically turned his back on his country to fulfill his boyhood fantasies of marrying this girl and staying back in time, because he had so much more he can do for the country. And I know I debated Jack and Taylor with this, and they're like, but look what all he did. It's like, yeah, but still, it's like, but it also bothers me too, because this opens up another can of worms. He could have stopped the assassination of JFK. He could have stopped 9/11. All of these things, if you think about it. So what was he doing? Was he sitting there like with a ball of yarn, and Peggy was knitting and he was just holding it in his fingers? I mean, that kind of annoys me to think that that's what Cap did. And to me, it really feels like it was selfishness. I always had a problem with that ending, that he just kind of turned his back on.
Said your service to your country is more than repaid. I mean, service to the world has been repaid. Go and have the life that you want.
Well,
yeah. Oh,
he's lucky I'm not in charge.
What else? What else does he need to do? Anyway, he's still alive. He's going to come back at some point. But this is the dialogue. The dialogue between the two of them, and it's probably a good time to discuss. Bucky just appears. It's like, oh, were you just around the corner? Did you call up the Falcon? Did somebody call you? Or do you just come down the stairs and go, right, we need to talk?
You're going to get me to lower my score, aren't you?
Well, I'm staggered. It's an 8. I would never, ever try to chip away at your score. But I think the more that I'm going to talk, the more I'm probably right.
Oh, you might.
Who knows?
No, I had issues with it, but I still enjoyed it. I guess I'm saying it, like the production values, the acting. I think the story was pretty decent.
I mean, right from the off. I cannot fault any of the acting in this. I mean, I really can't. I just think that in this episode, the writers let them down when they did such a sterling job last week, and in this one, they almost, I don't know, just didn't give them the material to work with.
Well, I think what it's opening itself up to, and like they're planting the seeds of the writers or whatever the story is going, is that John Walker is eventually going to be a bad guy.
Oh, that's a yeah. They're
'Cause
pushing
he's
him
a-
towards Homelander style.
But he, you know,
status.
he was offering his hand to Sam and Bucky, you know, to join with them so that they could work as a team and maybe, you know, find out what's going on with this the flag. What are they called? Flag, not the flag burners. Don't you know what they're called? I know
Oh,
I
the
did my
flag-
research.
The flag.
Flag stormers or something like that. Damn it, I'm so dumb. Anyway,
Anyway.
these flag people. We'll call them.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, you know, they're like, no thanks, we'll walk. It's like we can give you a ride. It's like 20 miles to, you know, the next base. Nah, we're good. And then when he kind of helps, I guess, Bucky get out of jail, and they're like, well, you know, I got some information, you know, maybe we can work together. They're still kind of like, nah, no thanks. But then he says, all right, if you're going to be that way, then get out of my way. Because the next time I see you, I'm not going to be so nice. That plants the seeds that there's going to be problems. And I kind of think that what they were doing is that maybe John Walker wanted to work with them in order to lead them astray. You know, there's still potentially that he might be behind this whole radical group. And because he's so gung-ho American, and you know, unfortunately, a lot of writers like to in this country like to make it like, well, if you're gung-ho American, that's not good. You know,
Well,
it's like
both of them, the Winter Soldier and the Falcon, come across in this episode like petulant kids.
they do.
They just come across as, do you know what? I'm not going to accept, despite the fact that the military's picked you, despite the fact you are decorated, despite the fact that you probably earned this, you know, the Captain America, even though you're quite humble in front of everybody and said, you know, I don't know what I need to do. You know, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm happy to take this on. Despite the fact he's been selected, they treat him like, right from the off, they treat him like dirt and say, you're not, you know, you're not worthy of being Captain America. Well, guess what, Falcon? You decided you weren't worthy of being Captain America. So somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to take the moniker.
I can understand him feeling upset because like his whole thing is like, well, I'm not worthy. Nobody's worthy. And they're like, well, thanks, Sam, you know, and we appreciate you giving us the shield. And he puts in the glass, they close the lights and like, get that shield. You know, it's like,
right. Yeah.
So I can understand him kind of feeling it's like, can't you respect how I feel about it since I was the last owner of the shield? I will give him that. He was the last owner of the shield.
Yes.
You know,
but he chose to give it up. And you know what's being set up? You know, a massive battle between Captain America on one side, Falcon on the other, been supported. Falcon and Joe, I can almost draw you the scene for you now, where he picks up the shield and goes, right, I'm Captain America now. He feels like he's earned it. That's what it's moving towards.
See, now I think what's going to happen. Well, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about John Walker. I love that beginning when we got to see him, you know, when he enters the stadium and it's Good Morning America and they're playing like a school band or a marching band rendition of the Star Spangled Man. And it's really cool. And to me, the way that this guy talked and even the way he looked, he embodied Steve Rogers more than even Chris Evans did. Except, and I will say, Dan pointed out this, that he was discussing this with his friend. He said, doesn't that guy have a weak chin? And he does. You know, I noticed that in the first episode. I thought it was just a camera angle, but when he's got the little chin cap on, it's like his whole bottom half of his
Yeah,
face
Dan
disappears.
spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, that's kind of weird. But I think he's got the look of Steve Rogers more than Chris Evans. I mean, for me, from what I've seen in the comics, he's more of a blonde hair, blue eyed type of guy. And Chris Evans was, he started off, he was like the darkest blonde imaginable. I mean, he eventually, sometimes he got a little lighter. And I think in Endgame, he was back to his hair being brown and he had, beard was in Infinity War. But I think he's good. And I think he's got very good chemistry with his partner, the guy who plays Battlestar.
Yeah.
I think that they would have been a great Cap and Falcon. I think this guy would have been a better Falcon than Anthony Mackie. I don't know why, because again, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going. Ooh, contentious.
Ooh. Again, I'm remembering the comics like from the 70s, and to me, they kind of had that sort of camaraderie together. The Falcon and Cap, like they were kind of equals. I never saw Falcon as his Robin, like they were almost like equals. And I kind of feel that way with, in a way with the new Cap and Battlestar. But Falcon to me just seemed like a younger person than Cap. And I could be wrong with that, like in the movies. And I don't know. They were very snarky to each other a lot of the times when they were talking to each other.
Going back to the end of Endgame, they're both really good friends with each other. What happened? Are we going to get a prequel that happened between Endgame and Falcon and the Winter Soldier that meant that they fell out? I'm like, why are you anti?
No, that's a good point. It's like, well, why wouldn't he visit him unless he thinks again? He just wants to be alone. He doesn't want to be part of this.
Why wouldn't he say, Bucky, I've heard you're going through some of the issues at the moment, and I know you're going through counselling, and obviously we've been through one of probably the biggest battle either of us will go through our entire life. And I've heard you're not doing so good, man. Do you need any help? Is there anything I can do? Do you need to talk to somebody or something like that? Nope, nothing like that. It's almost instantly, as soon as he sees him, something's happened between these two to cause that much of a rift.
I don't know about that, but you know what? If I was, again, and I think about this stuff all the time, again, the Cap from the current time, he goes back in time to be with his lady love and all that stuff. Wouldn't it have been nice if Steve Rogers bought 100 shares of Apple and put it in Sam's account?
Yeah, the superhero fund makes its appearance yet again, Joe.
That's what, like, again, I find it hard to believe that this guy would just go and buy milk and read Andy Cap in the papers and stuff like that and not know, well, this thing is going to happen next week, or, this stock is going to be huge, or the market's going to crash on this day. I think I would go crazy.
Or go see Pepper Potts, as you said. Go.
Like again, if I knew like the Beatles were about to break up, I think I would go crazy, at some point, like when you knew certain events were going to happen.
Yeah.
And especially 9/11. But that would actually probably be an interesting movie if someone tried to stop 9/11 that came from the future and they all thought he was crazy. I guess that was like 12 Monkeys in a way, right?
Yeah. Good film.
Anyway, and it's weird. What bothers me too is he doesn't have the super soldier serum in him or something like it. And in the comics he did, John Walker.
Right.
So
why is he so good? Why is he so strong? Why is he so good?
Yeah, why does he like handle that shield like a yo-yo or boomerang? Yeah. That's kind of a little bit odd. I mean, I wish Jack was here for that one, because as good as that shield is, and I know it's made of vibranium and stuff like that, but good Lord, the things that this guy does with the shield. I mean, I would think that Cap knew specific angles, and how the shield worked, and that he worked with it for a long ass time. For this guy to just kind of like pick it up and fling it around, again, like it's a yo-yo and stuff like that, that's a little unrealistic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I thought of is one of the things that makes Captain America, especially the first film, the first Avenger, is that he gets the serum, and then obviously there's no more after that. So we know that Bucky's had it, Cap's had it, but now we know that super soldiers can be created just by taking the blood and just on a whim. So it almost devalues the powers that both Bucky and Captain America have got, surely, because you can take the serum. So it leads us probably to that bit where they go and visit um the elderly black gentleman in the suburbs.
Yeah, and that kind of annoyed me a little bit too.
Because is that a character? Is that somebody?
I don't believe so.
Right. Okay.
And again, I think that they're putting in their own social justice comments and something like that. Where they're basically saying that the country turned their back on a war hero that was like Cap. They hid that the fact that he even existed, almost alluding to because he was a black man. And
Right.
and then they sold him out. They basically labeled him as a traitor. He was put in prison. They turned their back on him, and he gave his all to his country.
But that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Is that suddenly this thing that made everyone unique? Here's somebody else that had it.
Well,
Here's
here's
a
the
whole
thing.
group of people that have it.
So
Here
I got
in Civil War.
I have
Here are
information.
all the people there. Yeah.
All
Sorry.
right. So
Sorry.
so according to the comics, right? So
Yeah.
Cap had the first super soldier serum,
Right.
and then after that, like you said, in the movies you see it that was it. It was destroyed and all that stuff. All the other serums that they had were not the same. There was either something wrong with them, and it's the same thing in this case. I'm sure that they're not exactly the same. They might be less effective as what Cap or Steve has in his blood. So they're a little different and stuff like that. Or they might make them a little crazy or whatever, but they never perfected the serum that scientist developed.
Right.
So
is it like the end of Civil War where they get to the bunker where all of the super soldiers?
yeah, well, they had another in Civil War. You saw, I think they created 4 or 5 super soldiers, and they were trying to do the Winter Soldier program on them. Where they would control them and they would, do whatever they wanted. And they were pretty strong. They were very agile and stuff like that. But again, we don't know how effective they were. We don't know if Cap was more powerful because they were trying to replicate that formula. It doesn't necessarily mean that they had that formula.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, I'm just saying that, but it is, and I think that all right. So they're called the Flag Smashers. Like they got their hands on a bunch of some kind of serum similar to the super soldier serum. I don't think that again it's as effective as what
they're pretty strong, especially the
are.
bit on top of the lorry and stuff. They were. If Captain America hadn't shown up, then yeah, they would have had their behinds handed.
Even the way he came up to that kind of annoyed me because didn't he basically he caught up to the second truck instead of the first truck? The lead truck. So the second truck could see that he was, jumping on there.
Oh, that annoyed me. They'd be like pointing at it, trying to swerve, trying to alert someone. It's like, nope.
Yeah, they got cell phones.
The truck just carries on as if nothing's happened.
Yeah, that was a little crazy. But it was cool to see them on top of, the truck and fighting and all that.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
But I want to get back to the point too with the whole idea of who should be Cap. So and I did more research on this. Like I bought the Civil War trade paperback and I read that because I didn't want to read all of it. Jack read every single issue.
Of course he did.
So unfortunately he's not here. But what happens at the end of the comic book is that Cap is killed, and so
all right, okay.
Iron Man decides that it would be best to honor Cap if Bucky was the new Captain America. And I guess he talks to S.H.I.E.L.D. and the government and whatever, and they say, all right, we agree. But Bucky is reluctant too. And he says, the only way I'll join is if you deprogram the Winter Soldier program from me because I don't want that in me if I'm going to be Captain America.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is I answer to no one. And so he was Cap for a while. And then eventually Steve Rogers came back. Apparently he was lost in time or something.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
again, it's rare that
Was Bucky a good Cap? Was he all right?
He was good, but he was aggressive. He carried a gun like this guy. You know, he would shoot at the enemies, and he definitely was more aggressive than Cap. Costume was very similar. I think the stripes, instead of, they were like pointed. I'll put a picture in here. It's a pretty cool costume and everything. But again, as much as that was kind of like boost comic sales to do something like that, everybody always wants Steve back, you know, as Captain America. Like, same thing with Bruce Wayne as Batman.
Yeah.
Clark Kent as Superman, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You know, you want the OG character to be, because that's what they were created as. You know, that's what the writer Stan Lee or you know, Jack Kirby, you know, they kind of basically decided that that's who we wanted to be Captain America. So again, my point has always been, I don't like that the Falcon is Captain America. I never liked it in the comics because he's a hybrid of Captain America and the Falcon. And the only hybrid part of Captain America that he has is he has the shield, and then he's got a star on his chest, and then he's got, I think, red, white, and blue colors on his costume, but he still has the goggles. He still has the wings. It's the dumbest looking thing imaginable.
Wow. Okay.
That's not Captain America to me. Captain America, that's the Falcon. That's like, I would say 75% Falcon, 25% Cap. You got to be 100% Cap. If you're
But wasn't the
Cap.
Falcon a decorated war hero?
No, I mean, he was, but I'm just saying that even so, what are you saying, that that's why he's should be Captain America?
I'm just saying I don't know what the I don't know what the selection process is for Captain America. Is the selection process is there have to be, you know,
You flip a coin.
well, okay. Well, then he meets the criteria. He doesn't have the super serum. Neither does Walker. He's a decorated war hero. So is Walker. You know, he appears to be likable. And again, and I think it's probably a good time to mention at this point that I think we're going to need a name for this, Joe, because it happened last week and it happened again this week. So the moment where the cops pulled him over and basically got out and had that moment, which felt like, you know, cops are bad. But they didn't recognize him. And Joe, we need a name for this. We need a little moment, and it's going to have to be the, let's call it, you know, we have sections that we give things on our show, but let's call it, do you not know,
Selected
do you know who I
amnesia.
am? Do you know who I am? It should be the do you know who I am moment. We had one last week. You telling me that a police officer in the USA does not know who all of the Avengers are. I mean, the guy saved the planet. The guy saved planets. Right. You know, he's part of the effort in order to, you know, collectively part of the team. Netflix specials. I know I talked about this. There'll be a Netflix special on every single one of them. A collective one, how the battle was won, what happened, Thanos' past, everything. Everyone would know who he is. So he's walking down the street and he gets pulled over, and it's left to the other police officer to whisper in his ear and go, oh, and he goes, oh, Joe, wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen.
I mean, I agree. Well, the other thing too is that we talked last week. They should all be wealthy by now.
Yes, yeah.
After saving
fund.
the world, the universe, and all that, you know, that they're struggling making ends meet. I just think that that's poor writing. I think it's just basically kind of saying that the human race just basically is ungrateful and they're selfish, and they don't really care about what you do. So you only do it out of the goodness of your heart. You don't do it for the glory or the money. But that's not necessarily true. I mean, but that's what they're preaching, and I don't like that. I think it's just creating drama, and that's what this is. It's a drama. It's action drama.
But where is the good stuff? Where is the stuff that where he's trying to get funds to launch the boat with his sister last week? Where was the touching moment with Bucky and the woman who owned the sushi, the sushi place? Where is all of that gone?
No, I missed that.
Yeah.
I specifically missed the sister. I liked her. I
Oh,
wish
she's
that would have
great.
went on a little longer. I missed the old Asian man.
Yeah.
There was really no conclusion to that, and
They
I
forgot
actually
they forgot the last episode.
I kind of felt that they were better by themselves in ways, like the way that they were doing it, that they were showing their in each individual lives and how they were struggling to adapt to society, after their heroes were gone, and now, they were kind of looked in a favorable light for saving the world and everything. But they still had the same common problems that we all have in life.
And the comparison that's been had that I've seen online is that they're expecting these two to be Riggs and Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon. And if you cast your mind back to the first Lethal Weapon,
point.
when they first met each other, Riggs and Murtaugh didn't like each other. Danny Glover thought Riggs was a head case or however he termed it, and
these guys didn't like each other either in the beginning.
No, but what I'm saying is that you saw, even initially, you saw it change, and you saw it change quite quickly. So by the end of Lethal Weapon, they're 100% together. They're 100% on each other's side. And I guess with something like this, if they're going to keep playing on this antagonism, when we know that they were once friends, but they're going to keep playing on this, you're not where you should be Captain America. I don't want to be Captain America. Well, somebody else is Captain America. Well, so what? And it's almost like, please don't, if you are going to turn this into, and one of the things I noted is on the Disney Plus, where it comes up with action, superhero, and a description. One of them, the descriptions on Disney Plus was Buddy. And I'm like, will you have a look at this and you tell me where the buddy bit is in this? Because they're just going at it.
Oh, you said Buddy or Bloody?
Buddy, Buddy.
Oh, okay.
They even put it as, if you're searching for buddy movies on Disney Plus, I guess now with Star, you might get something like 48 Hours, Lethal Weapon, anything like that. And don't put this in the same level as that, because to me, this is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. It's just it's that.
I wanted to bring up a couple of things though, like when you were talking about like when the cops came and kind of blasted the sirens because Bucky and Sam are fighting in the middle of the street. So my problem with that though is that they ask Sam for his ID and he gets pissed off and he starts walking away. I don't remember all of it, but I think
He says, "I don't carry ID." He says,
I think it's not a good look to portray to any race. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or Asian, that when a cop comes and when he asks like for your ID or, and he stops, that you just start, snapping back at him.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But do they have reason to believe that?
Well, no, there was a fight going on.
I mean,
there's a fight going on in the middle of the street. They're going to break it up. That's what they do over here. They're like, all right, guys, what's going on over here?
What, even a row? Just like a row between two people?
I mean, they might not ask for ID, but they're like, all right, guys, move along. They might do something like that. But I just think that I think it's the wrong message, because I've been stopped by cops too. And as soon as I see the sirens, I'm like, oh, God, and I just kiss their butts because it's like, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to, be put in cuffs or something like that over something I did, and I'm not going to say most of the times. I would say the majority of the times I'm not guilty, but I don't argue with them. I just, it's like, I understand and I appreciate you're doing your job and all that stuff, because it just scares the crap out of me. I don't want anything to happen to me, but I think that the message is wrong, that you start instantly, you're not working with the police officers and say, look, we're good. We were just having an argument, and I'd have to watch it again, but I think he kind of snapped back, you know, at the officer, and I just don't think it's a good message to tell kids. You know, anyway.
Yeah. Well,
The other thing too that they kind of brought up, which I thought was weird, is when they were walking to that man's house, and that kid comes up to him and he says, "Oh, you know, my dad, he refers to you as the Black Falcon." And then he says, "Well, why does he do that?" You know, I was like, and you know, I mean, he made a decent point, you know, that I'm the Falcon, but it just didn't make any sense. I mean, the writers were probably struggling, like they wanted that line in there for, you know, a black child to ask that, you know, to a black superhero. Just doesn't make any sense. Why would you call that person, you know, the Black Falcon?
hmm.
I could see that more with, like, you know, maybe a white child and stuff like that, saying that, you know, you were the Black Falcon. But I think that the whole thing is, it's like, if they would have done that, I think they felt that they would have opened up a can of worms by saying that, like having like a, you know, white kid ask a, you know, black superhero, why my father calls you the Black Falcon.
Yeah.
I just
That-
think it should have been
yeah.
left out, because it was like, it just doesn't work, you know, for me. And it just was kind of weird. And again, I just wish that, you know, I was actually kind of thinking it kind of sucks sometimes that we're in the age that we're in, because I would like to think that, like, maybe 100 to 200 years from now, we don't even have to think about this stuff, you know,
Hmm.
that everybody's getting along. Nobody looks at race, gender, or religion or something like that, that
Yeah.
everybody, it's like Star Trek, you know, where we're just happy and we're all on the same team, you know.
Star Trek, that's a good comparison, because you know, obviously I've stopped watching Star Trek because it's gone away from the original vision, I think. So I think Star Trek is pretty much unwatchable at the moment.
I'm talking about Gene Roddenberry's
Yeah,
original
absolutely.
series.
Yeah, and it is, because when you start watching Star Trek, there's different different races, you know, there's whole different types of people, you know, and it's just not, you just don't notice it. And I guess, I don't know what it was like in the 60s. Obviously you had Michelle Nichols as Uhura, and I guess that caused a bit of a storm at the moment, because at the time, sorry, because it was the first black kiss. Now I don't think anybody would. Does it that sort of thing still really rile people up anymore?
No.
But I guess there's other things. I can see what you're trying to say, is what I'm trying to probably articulate badly.
Yeah, we'll get away. I don't like bringing that up. I always feel like I'm gonna be portrayed not the way that I'm thinking. So hopefully I came across as a decent person. But
Oh,
let's move on here to, I guess, yeah. I wanted to talk about that guy too, the Korean War hero that was like the Cap for that time. I'm kind of bummed that they just kind of like left and that was it. It's like, he's there. Maybe he'll return. But, you know, I was saying too, I thought was cool. And I think that what these guys get that the directors or the writers of WandaVision didn't get is a lot of the stuff seems real. Like when they knock on that guy's door, and I think it's his grandson or his nephew or something like that, answers the door, and he doesn't open the screen door. And he's like, well, he's not here. And he says, well, can you tell him that I'm so-and-so and I want to speak to him, and then I know him from the Korean War? And he's like, hold on. And then he walks away, you know, and he says, all right, he'll see you.
right.
I think a lot of other writers would just have that kid come out and say, why don't you get out of my property or something like that, or yelling at him or stuff like that. Or they would just walk in or something like that. But that seemed real to me, because you can see something like that happen, you know, like where a kid's like, yeah, there's these guys out here, you know, they're asking about you. Do you want to talk to them or not? You know, and, you know, to me, that seemed very real. And I'm grateful that they kind of get that at times.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So the last thing really is they're going to go see Baron Zemo now.
Right. I thought I couldn't remember what his story was after he sort of wasn't in the MCU anymore. He's obviously still operating.
Well,
What
he's in jail.
He's in jail.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
in
okay.
prison.
Right.
Kind
Oh,
of
so
like
that was because I saw an image of somebody with their head down in prison, and then watching the monitor. I think was Evo, wasn't it? Oh, not. Oh, did I?
Zemo. Yeah, so we're talking
Zemo.
like Zemo. It reminds me of Hannibal Lecter. I think that they're going that route.
Right. Okay. So how do you think he's gonna? What do you think he's got to offer or come into the later episodes?
Well, he's going to get out because
Hmm.
we've seen him with the purple mask on, in the trailers and stuff like that, or the posters.
Right.
I don't know. They might break him out. I mean, I have a feeling that's the only way he's going to get out. If he hasn't gotten out since Civil War, someone's going to have to break him out, and I'm sure that Sam and Bucky are going to break him out for some reason, and then they're going to realize they made a mistake, and then he's going to be another villain in the MCU.
Right.
But yeah, I guess he's going to give them information on how they experimented on these soldiers and what kind of serum they were using and how much of the serum was made, where it was made, and maybe that will kind of give them a path to where to go.
Right. Yeah. You've covered all of my points. I think we've covered all of the things that the things that I had, but yeah, just not a good episode for me. In that sense, have I convinced you to lower your score?
No, I'm still going to stick with an 8 out of 10. No, there was one other thing I want to mention. So that girl that's like the head of the Flag Smashers. So she was in Solo. Do you remember her in Solo?
Oh, she Envy's Nest.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I thought I'd recognized her from somewhere before.
So I will get so annoyed if she's made out to be the villain, and then at the end she's actually good. If they do this twice, because I think that they're going towards that direction too.
Right.
They're making her a sympathetic
character. The One Division approach.
Yeah, and I'm like, ugh, just make them villains. I mean, that's all you got to do. It's don't try to give some sort of moral heart to them, and I just hope they don't do that.
Oh, they're gonna help. They're gonna help the Falcon defeat Captain America. That's where they're going.
Yeah, like it's probably at some point. Yeah, they're definitely going to go at it. I think it's going to be 2-on-2. I think it's going to be Bucky and the Falcon versus Cap and Battlestar. Which should be cool. That should be a pretty cool fight.
But they're going to be in there somewhere. They're going to be assisting in some shape or form.
Yeah, the good thing that I have to say is that this is only 6 episodes, because I think that that's enough. I think that those 9 episodes of WandaVision were just way too much. And again, I'm enjoying this. I always hope that they don't go a certain way with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then sometimes they do. I just hope that, all right, that was the last one. But I got a feeling we're going to see more, in the future.
Well, I look forward to next week. I look forward to next week's episode as I would do. I was also excited to see, alongside the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, new on Disney Plus is a return to the Mighty Ducks. I'm going to be really happy with that.
No, that's a movie.
It's either a movie or a series. I
think it's a movie. Yeah.
Oh well, Emilio Estevez back as Coach Bombay, Gordon Bombay. That's good for me. I think I'm going to prefer that to this particular episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I'll let you know next week.
It's up there.
Yep.
All right, Charlie. Thanks. You got any plugs?
No, we're going to record our final podcast. We've got to get either watch tonight or tomorrow, and it's going to be Midnight Run. So looking forward to that. I did a bit of research on it. and realized how much I really loved it, and how much it is loved, even though it's the very definition of a forgotten 80s movie. Because if you said to me, give me 20 Robert De Niro films, I mean, I would be able to, but if you gave, somebody on there, they go, right, Godfather Part 2, Goodfellas, Casino, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, and so on, would people get to this particular? I think, Meet the Fockers would be on there before we ever got to Midnight Run. So yes, we're really looking forward to it, but I'm especially looking forward to Amanda watching it because she's never seen it. She hasn't even heard of it.
No, I think it's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
And you're right. Like when you think of De Niro, especially during that era, you think of Raging Bull and you think of Goodfellas and stuff like that. And I think that's his character was a great character, but it wasn't those characters. It wasn't as enigmatic as that or Al Capone and The Untouchables.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have a following like those other movies do. But I love that movie. I think it's really well written and well acted.
Yep. So that's what we're doing next. So we're just going to get around to doing it, and then that's it. A wrap for season 3, and then my good, which the season opener. Amanda doesn't know it yet. Will be Howard the Duck or Howard New Breeder Hero. I'm not trying to get a mention for Howard on every single podcast that I mention. Okay.
Well, a picture's coming.
Oh well, okay. Where is Howard the Duck in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? He's obviously survived the battle, so
I don't know.
Maybe he'll pop up in episode 4.
Don't push it.
I'm fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I really hope you're not tweeting Howard the Duck the series on Disney Plus.
Oh well, it's coming. It must be.
Whatever.
Must be.
All right, Charlie. Okay. Well, thanks again, and we'll
Cheers.
See you next week.
Excellent. Cheers.
Okay, so we now return you to our regularly scheduled program. That was it. All right. So here we go.
Okay.
Main topic here. So we're up to, I guess, round 4 of Marvel DC March Madness. We're doing.
Is it 4 or 3?
It's 4.
Okay.
And we're doing basically the Sweet 16, what they call. And so we've narrowed it down to 16 basically survivors. 48 have been eliminated. And we're going to go at it. All right, so I got to get my bowl. Oh, I also have to make a correction. I forgot two names dropped out of the bowl. And Jack and I basically spoke about it afterwards. So this will be pretty quick. So the first one is, can you see that?
The Flash, Barry Allen versus Doomsday.
And we basically said Doomsday.
Doomsday because in order for Doomsday to fight Superman, he had to be fast like Superman. And if Superman is nearly as fast as the Flash, as we've seen, a contest, Flash is faster, but not by much. I think if Doomsday gets a hold of him somehow, that's the end of the Flash.
Yeah, and look, we also discussed too, like Doomsday is a weird character. He has died a lot, but then he comes back and then he's resistant to whatever killed him. So, but again, this version of Doomsday, let's just say he's pretty even for now. It's not like he's going to die in the battle and come back.
Well, Doomsday is one of those ridiculous characters. He was just created to kill Superman. There's nothing else you need to know about Doomsday. He dug his way out from underground, showed up, and just started killing everything until he got to the point where Superman and him killed each other.
I hated him just because I felt that Superman deserved a better death from, a more intelligent villain than something that basically didn't have any intelligence whatsoever. Anyway, yeah, I didn't like Doomsday, still don't. All right, so I'm putting his name in the bowl. All right.
Okay.
So he's one of the 16. All right, so here we go.
Mix up that bowl.
I did.
Okay, Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern versus Darkseid. Ooh, okay. This is one where Hal Jordan can't pummel him from a range. Because, I mean, Darkseid has those Omega beams, which, you know, cancels out the whole range combat aspect of it. So it really has to come down to getting up close, because I don't know if a Green Lantern shield would stop the Omega beams. I don't know, and I don't know if they would. And obviously anything that they hit is destroyed or catapulted back time.
I think they would, you know, like when Superman fights him, doesn't necessarily destroy him, those Omega beams.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Superman Darkseid fight. those are good scenes. I love that in the animated series.
Did you ever watch it was Batman Superman Apocalypse, which is an animated
the animated movie
with Supergirl.
Yeah,
that's a great fight.
I remember that,
end.
But no, I like the Tim verse. You know, when they go at it.
Is it? It's in the the Bruce.
I think it's in Justice. The Justice.
Oh,
League.
it's Justice League, because they just released the Superman series on HBO Max.
Oh, so cool!
I might look for that.
I always enjoyed that. That was, once again, hokey but fun. It wasn't as dark and serious as Batman, the animated series, but Superman is not supposed to be.
I liked Batman better, the Bruce Timm version of Batman than the Superman. Superman, Lois and Superman just looked weird. Batman looks okay because he's wearing a mask, you know.
Yeah, I liked it, but I would say though that Darkseid would get it, take him, because there's a reason that Darkseid is the worst of the worst in the DC universe.
I'll agree with you too, Jack, because I'm sure that the Justice League has fought Darkseid, and I think that that's what happened in Justice League War, and also in the New 52. You know, the bunch of them had to fight Darkseid, and I don't remember Green Lantern stepping up and just kicking his butt
and taking him out. I mean, like, it always comes down to Superman giving his all. So,
yeah,
I gotta say Darkseid.
Yeah, I'll give you that one too.
If only Superman were around in the brackets.
Poor Superman. Oh, speaking of.
Superboy Prime versus.
Oh, this is going to be a good one.
The Silver Surfer. Now, Darkseid versus the Silver Surfer. That would have been a really good one. I'm going Silver Surfer because I'm just sick of Superboy Prime and I just want him out of the mix.
Me too. I mean, that's part of the reason.
He's a ridiculous character, and well, granted, they're all ridiculous, but he's just a ridiculous character, and anything could be justified for anything with him. So I don't like him. I'm kicking him out.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to admit the Silver Surfer is super powerful. I think he would beat Superboy Prime. I don't know how intelligent Superboy Prime is. Again, I think we had said that, wasn't it him that he's not allergic to kryptonite or magic, right? But it doesn't matter. I think that Silver Surfer is very overpowered in the Marvel universe, and I think he could hand it to him.
Well, it's power cosmic.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that one there, Jack.
Like I said, Superboy Prime, the fact that he punches the fourth wall and can determine all sorts of things, he's not going to be fun if we leave him in the mix, because it's going to be like, Superman Prime. Yeah, he's reading the comic book, and he's not doing well against the Silver Surfer, so he rips out that page and it never happens. Like, no,
Well, it's going to be hard.
Get him out.
It's going to be hard to take out Silver Surfer too.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Doomsday versus.
You didn't have a rest from the last one. Oh, this is a good one.
The Hulk. Ooh. I would give it to Doomsday only because Doomsday starts off at that Superman power level. The Hulk has to have some time to get angry enough to like give Superman that tough fight. Also, Doomsday has, like we just said before with the Flash, the Doomsday has speed on his side. The Hulk is, even though he's as strong as the strongest one there is, he doesn't have super speed. For Doomsday to be able to hit Superman, he's got to move very fast. And I think he would take the Hulk out before the Hulk got angry enough to become strong enough to give him a tough time. Does that rationale work?
I think they're pretty close. I mean, I think.
No, like I said, if it went long enough, I think the Hulk would eventually even it out and possibly take it. It's just he's got to build up to that, and I think Doomsday would kind of take him out before he gets that.
I mean, I kind of always thought of Doomsday as the Hulk, except for an evil version of the Hulk.
He sort of is like the Hulk, but the Hulk still, even in his, dumb phase, at least has some sort of intelligence, that he knows when to stop. Doomsday doesn't. Doomsday is just a killing machine that goes and attacks anyone or anything. Like the Hulk, as mad as he could be, if a kid ran in front of him, the Hulk would stop in his tracks and not hurt the kid. Doomsday would plow right over the kid.
Well, Superman defeated Doomsday.
Right. But like I said, Superman and Doomsday start off at the same level, close. Doomsday's here. Hulk would start off here, and he gets hit, and he gets a little madder. Then he gets thrown around, and gets a little madder. He gets a little madder to get up here. So that's what I'm saying. That time differential is the make or break moment.
But my issue too, all right, I get you with the speed. I mean, I think the Hulk is fast, but he's probably, like you said, not as fast as Doomsday, if Doomsday can catch Superman. I don't know how fast Doomsday is, actually. I don't know if I have it written down.
In research?
Yeah, I don't really. It says superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and agility. What does it say?
I never really thought of Superman as agile. I always thought of Superman as,
No, I was talking about Doomsday, but it's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
This one says for Hulk, superhuman strength, durability, and healing factor. Now, does Doomsday have the healing factor?
I don't believe he does.
So, all right. So I think that gives a little bit of an edge to Hulk. I know his healing factor is not as, I don't know, I like Wolverine and the Hulk, their healing factors. And you can include Spider-Man takes forever to heal. But he does heal.
Right.
But which one would you say with the Hulk and Wolverine? Who would heal faster?
I would say Wolverine definitely heals faster. The Hulk does heal. So you know what? Bringing the healing factor in, I say it could go either way. I defer to you.
I'm going to say the Hulk.
Okay. I won't disagree with that.
Because I think that it's not going to be a quick knockout. And he will have time to get angrier. And he'll get stronger. And I think at some point he's going to pass Doomsday. So, and Doomsday
And you're
doesn't
right. If
have
Doomsday hurts him with one of those, what do you call them?
Spikes?
The spiky things. You're right. Hulk could get stabbed with that and heal eventually, just getting madder and madder as he heals. I wonder if the Hulk heals faster the angrier he gets.
I remember reading that, and I think it's actually possible that that's the case.
Could be.
But I also think, like, again, Superman, like we said, like if Superman fights the Hulk, you go just throw him into the sun. But that's the whole thing, is I don't think that Doomsday doesn't fly. So I don't think he
No,
can.
actually, I think he jumps like the Hulk jumps.
He does. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very similar. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Hulk.
Okay, we'll go Hulk.
Screw Doomsday. Plus, Hulk's got the seniority too. And like I said, Doomsday is just a ripoff of the Hulk. All right, who's this next person here?
Doctor Strange versus.
Oh no.
The Thor. Oh.
I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I My
think
opinion.
that this could be an interesting fight because Thor actually does have some magic he can cast. He can cast rune magic. So he may have some protective spells, that Doctor Strange would get around, but it might take him a little while. And while he's trying to get around them, he could get a nice hammer in the head.
But if Thor threw Mjolnir at him, he can actually open a portal too, right? And just send it somewhere.
And he could teleport it, but the hammer itself can travel through teleport and do all sorts of cross-dimensional stuff. Like the hammer is very weird. It's not just to summon lightning or to hit people with. So the hammer can do a lot of different things. As some powers, if what the story needs, all of a sudden the hammer finds a way to do it. However, the fact that Thor is a god in the MCU, I would give it to Thor. He has to have the experience of dealing with magicians and sorcerers. Heck, look at what he does with Loki all the time. That I think Thor would actually be able to take out Doctor Strange. I don't think it'd be easy, but it would come down to Thor being a god and having a brother who's a pain in the neck all the time. So I would give it to Thor.
So they both fly, but I don't think they fly that great because Thor relies on Mjolnir to basically fly.
Well, Thor, once he gets airborne with Mjolnir, it's not like he throws it in that direction. That's the only direction he can fly. Once he's airborne, he can fly however he wants to.
Oh, really? I thought he always had to have Mjolnir.
No, that just gets him up in the air. But once he's up in the air, he can control the direction he's going. The cloak of levitation, though, that's Doctor Strange can fly wherever he needs to. He could be doing those crazy Falcon stunts if he had to. I don't think he flies as fast, but I think he can go where he needs to go quickly.
But he relies on that to fly.
He relies on that. That is the power of flight comes from the cloak of levitation. He probably does have a spell that would let him fly, but that was the big thing that the cloak did. And
like you said, I think if Thor got a hold of him, he would crush him. I mean, he could crush his skull. I don't think he would really do that, and that's the whole thing, though. Is he going to get close enough to him in order to get a hold of him? I think once he gets a hold of him, it's over. But
like I said, I think it would be a good fight. I think it would be a close fight. But like I said, I'd give it to Thor because Loki can give Doctor Strange some trouble, and Thor has been dealing with Loki for eons, millennia.
It could
You
go
know?
either way, I think, but I would give it to Thor. Like you said, he's a god. Who knows what spells Doctor Strange knows? I mean, he probably could be super overpowered and take down Thor with maybe some spell that we're just unaware of. But yeah, I would go with Thor on that one too. It's unfortunate. I would have liked to seen them make it to the finals.
No, I mean that would be a good fight though. That would be
It would.
pretty good.
All right, see that one?
The Reverse Flash versus Gravitron.
I'm going to rely on you for this one.
I would go with if the Reverse Flash doesn't do all his time travel stuff that he's supposed to be able to do. I would say if Gravitron saw him coming, it would go to Gravitron, because Gravitron, he encased all of the Marvel Universe heroes in like gravity blocks simultaneously. So if he could do that to all the heroes very quickly, I think he would be able to find a way to immobilize the Reverse Flash. And
Well,
it's not, and he's using gravity. If he was using something like, oh, he created a crystal structure or something made of molecules, the Reverse Flash would be able to, you know, vibrate out and get out. But he isn't. He's being held by energy. And I don't think that the Flash or the Speed Force would work well against an energy field.
Yeah, like can he Gravitron build like a field around him, you know, to prevent attack?
Yes. He would be basically like stuck in amber. Except the amber would be made of energy versus matter.
Yeah,
I gotta find that panel so you could put it up and you could see how Gravitron can capture people if he wants. I'll find that panel. I'll send it to you, and you can post it so people will kind of see and understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gravitron too. I mean, part of it is I hate Reverse Flash.
No, Reverse Flash is cool, but like I said, I don't know how the Speed Force reacts to energy versus matter, because it can vibrate through matter, but I don't know about energy.
The one thing I read about, not that this applies, that the Reverse Flash has an issue with is cold.
Really?
Hmm?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, where is it?
He's slipping on the ice.
His weakness is cold temperature because his molecules cannot vibrate at their normal speed if the cold slows them down.
So Reverse Flash versus Captain Cold
could that'd be interesting.
Could actually be a match.
Or Mr. Freeze.
Or Mr. Freeze.
Who is it? Is there someone in Marvel that's got cold powers?
Oh, there's Iceman.
Iceman. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't put Iceman in.
Iceman wouldn't last against Reverse Flash.
No. All right. Okay, who's next one here? One of your favorites.
Ultron. Ooh.
This is another one I'm going to rely on you.
Count Nefaria. Boy, that's another one. That would be a good fight. I would go with Count Nefaria for the same way we say Superman versus the Hulk. I don't think he'd be able to outright destroy Ultron, but he'd probably be able to like fly him up and throw him into the sun.
Yeah, and again, like
Because
what
even
I
though Ultron is indestructible, the variety of powers that Nefaria has would make it where he could immobilize or just make Ultron not a threat anymore.
now again, I don't know Count Nefaria at all. I mean,
Nefaria is basically like Superman.
well, it says that he's got the combined power of the living laser, which is energy projection. Power Man, which is superhuman strength, endurance, and durability, and Whirlwind, which is superhuman speed, all amplified at over 100-fold.
Right.
So
Now, Nefaria versus Superman, I think would be a really good fight.
yeah,
Or versus Surfer, but
I would agree. Count Nefaria. Well, we might see that one with Surfer. I wouldn't be surprised.
we'll see.
This is going a lot quicker because there's less people.
Yeah, but these would be much better fights on the comic page. Okay,
Yeah.
Power Girl versus Groot, the Mandarin. Once again, it's got to go to Kryptonian.
Oh yeah, and I agree with that too.
I mean, the Mandarin has a great variety of spells, and that's, well, ring powers, but it's tough to beat a Kryptonian.
I don't think he's got the range that she has, too.
Well, I mean, he has, like I said, he's got a lot of different strengths. He's a skilled martial artist as well, but nothing,
He's
you
not
throw
invulnerable.
Freeze ray at Superman, that doesn't work. You throw a freeze ray. Oh, wait a second, though.
Oh, the magic?
Yeah. Does she have the same weakness to magic as Superman
As Supergirl.
and Supergirl? She is a Kryptonian. You know what? I'd still give it to her. I mean, because you're right, with the range, she's strong enough to pick up a mountain and throw it at him. Kryptonians are in a whole different league, so I would say Power Girl.
And apparently she's the strongest out of all of them. Superman, Supergirl, and Power Girl.
He is? Okay. I
She's-
always thought they all kind of leveled out. Like you get to that, this is what Kryptonians are, but I know like, I think Taylor, or you had said Supergirl is stronger
Yeah,
and faster.
it was me.
But I mean, once you get up that high, I think you'll kind of diminishing returns. You'll that power slope sort of levels off at a plateau.
Yeah, this is Supergirl, Superman, and Power Girl are all Kryptonian, so they have tremendous durability. However, Power Girl, what is it? All of them have been known to absorb ungodly amounts of damage. However, Power Girl has the edge in durability over Supergirl and can beat her. Supergirl isn't more powerful than Superman. All right, now I'm confused. I'm getting. All right, so they're about even. Supergirl and Superman are about the same, but Power Girl has an edge. So let's just give it to Power Girl. I agree. I think, again, I think the Mandalorian, he's human.
Mandarin.
The Mandalorian. Yeah, the Mandarin. Whatever his name is. He's done.
Ring guy.
Yeah. He needs Baby Yoda.
Sinestro versus? Well, let's see.
No, I think this will be an easy one. I think, anyway. We'll see.
Captain Marvel. Once again, I think would be a good fight. You know what? The way they are portraying Captain Marvel now, I would say I'd give it to Captain Marvel.
I would too.
Yeah, I mean, Sinestro is a tough guy. He really is. But I don't think his ring is as powerful as Hal Jordan's. And I don't think his willpower is as strong. So I think it'd be a really good fight, but I'd give her the edge because she is strong. She can manipulate energy and release it back at them. She's fast. I think through diversity of powers and how tough those powers have become, I'd give it to her. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen several fights with Sinestro and Hal Jordan. I don't know how he is against the other Lanterns, but for the most part, the ones that I've seen, he's come out on top. Not Sinestro, Hal Jordan. Like Sinestro might have the edge. I mean, he's got the experience over Hal Jordan since he's been a Lantern longer than him. But I still think that he always seems to succumb to the Green Lantern.
Well, I mean, Hal Jordan's willpower, his stubbornness, I guess you could call it, is what is the deciding edge because his willpower makes his ring stronger. So that means his constructs are just tougher than Sinestro's, and Sinestro's a villain. So, eventually, the villains always kind of get scared or some sort of flaw in their character makes them lose against the more noble hero. So, like I said, I don't think Sinestro's ring is as strong as Hal Jordan's, and Captain Marvel has become crazy power with a huge variety of powers. So that's why I give it to her.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm giving it to Captain
It'll be
Marvel.
a good fight.
Yeah, all these would be good fights.
These would all be good fights. We're into the real meat and potatoes of the game now.
So now we're up to the final 8. So we'll do that next week. So I think we're going to finish it next week because we'll have 8. Then the winners of those, that'll be 4. So the 4 will go, and then it will have the final 2, and that'll be it. I think we can do that, like in one episode. That's like the equivalent to doing 16, I think, just about.
Okay.
So,
all right. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And it's the end of March, although March Madness and basketball goes into April, but
it may go further into April the way they're having to postpone games and stuff now.
I think it always goes into April, though, even though it's called March Madness.
No, but you're right. I think it goes into the first week, but I think they've had to delay a number of games because of players testing positive.
Yeah.
COVID and stuff. So we'll see.
Anywho, so I guess we got some time for listener email.
All right, let's go with viewer mail.
Viewer mail. All right, so
this is viewer mail here that we don't have to catch theme song yet.
I do. That's why I've been dying to do some email because I got a really good one. And
all right, let's go for it.
It's playing right now. All right, so Michael would like to know, what other Marvel series would you like to see come to Disney Plus?
Marvel, like a new series that would be written?
Yeah, because they have a lot coming out.
Okay.
They got the She-Hulk, they got Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. What else do they got there? Hawkeye. I know. Loki, of course, is coming out and stuff like that. But
okay. A off-the-wall series I'd love to see is Captain Britain and MI9. Captain Britain, of course, is the defender of the United Kingdom. He is strong through not like technical or anything, but more magic based. And he is with a group, I think it's called MI9, but this group is like sort of led by a John Constantine sort of figure. So a snarky smart alecky Doctor Strange type. He's married to a woman who is sort of a shapeshifter. Now, here's the thing. Her powers are determined how other people emote towards her. So I guess something like an empathic shapeshifter. So if you think like, her name's Megan, if you think like, oh, you know what, Megan is really just a really ugly person inside, her appearance actually starts to reflect what you think about her. And that could be fun in different ways as a character boost. Now, of course, Captain Britain loves her and thinks she's wonderful. So whenever she's around him, she becomes the most beautiful woman in the world. But how other people perceive her, if they perceive her as weak, you know, she will get weaker. She will start to lose her power. So that could be a fun sort of character to play with on a series.
Are they all from England?
They're all, well, she's from a fairy realm that has magical roots to England. Also on the team is Spitfire, who is your speedster character. And she's sort of like a Captain America character, where she started out in World War II. And she was the speedster on the Liberty Legion, I think they were called. Well, she's there, and she had, you know, continued to age, but through some sort of comic booky thing, she was de-aged back to like 16 years old. So she's a 16-year-old girl who has a royal title, so she's got money. And she has all the wits and experience of like a 90-year-old woman.
That's interesting. Well, that kind of reminds me.
So she's kind of funny because, you know, it's the sort of situation of, oh, well, you know, here comes this, you know, girl. She comes in and they're all underestimating her, and she goes and takes them all to school. So
who's that character in The Boys that she was actually, she didn't age, and she was
that was Stormfront.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of her in a way.
Actually, it's that sort of thing. Like, you know, well, but she did age, but she was, like I said, then she was rejuvenated back to a teenager. I think that happened in Namor, an issue of Namor where they're fighting the Super Skrull or something weird. That book had a lot of fun stuff, but she got rejuvenated and then she started aging again. So I think now she's at the point she's like in her mid-20s again.
That's interesting. I mean, I think what's really interesting, I didn't know that there was a female speedster out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty cool.
And let's see, who else is on that? Do you remember Union Jack?
Yeah.
Okay. He has a like midnight blue costume with the Union Jack flag on it. And he's sort of the super spy type of guy. So they're all going through this, and they deal with all sorts of cross-dimensional wackiness that comes through Britain. And they also end up fighting against the vampires led by Dracula.
No, so, that does sound interesting.
Like I said, it was a fun book. They had a lot of cool stuff on it, a lot of fun stuff on it. And I think it would make one heck of a series. And it also gives a different locale.
Did Captain Britain ever fight Captain America?
I don't believe so, because they're both, you know.
But it would be cool. You know?
Well, Captain Britain is strong, you know, where Captain America, you know, is peak human condition. Captain Britain's a brawler. He's up there, not Hulk level, but I would say he'd probably be above the Spider-Man weight class.
The one thing
he's strong, but not ridiculously strong.
I remember Captain Britain. I really didn't collect him. I wasn't a fan of his costume. Like it kind of looked like he had a wrestler sort of mask on.
He had two. The first one, he had like this red suit with the gold lion that was sort of very medieval looking. And then eventually he changed into the suit, which is more like he's dressed in a flag, sort of like Captain America.
Yeah, like the Union Jack, like
right.
like on his head, didn't it?
Yeah,
like
he's got a helmet versus a mask. But like he's cool, and it would give a different locale for the MCU, that it's not happening in New York or California. It's happening in London.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, just a different flavor. Like, how Wakanda, it's a different locale, so it's kind of a little bit more fun. So I think you could have some good British humor by doing that. So that's a weird one.
So yeah, I would go with like an X-23 series. I wouldn't mind seeing her like have her own series.
Well, you kind of see that in The Boys.
Oh, you mean with that Asian girl?
Yes.
It's different.
Well, X-23 kind of has that, she's a clone. She's not quite sure about all her origins.
But she's
claws. Tough as heck.
She's got 2 claws instead of 3.
Right. But she's got a claw on her toes as well.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But X-23 is a very fun comic series as well.
Wait, does the claw and her toe, does it pop out, or is it always
there? Yeah, she can retract them.
Okay.
Yeah, same way as the wrist, the wrist claws or whatever. So she does a lot of fun stuff. Another fun series would be if they adapted the Spider-Woman series of when she decides to quit the superhero business and become a mom.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, what's funny about that is superhero business keeps intruding on her time as a mom. And she hangs out with Captain Marvel and I believe the Black Widow as well. So those are her friends, and Patsy Walker, I think. So she still hangs out with her superhero friends.
Well, that ain't gonna happen.
Well, no, but like I said, that could be fun. They don't have to use Captain Marvel because that's too big a name.
No, but they're doing a Spider-Woman series, that movie. Like,
they are? I didn't remember they were doing a movie, but
yeah, like Daisy Ridley is up for it apparently.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
But like I said, that would be a fun series because it would let Marvel really do a comedic tone.
I got a good one. All right.
Okay.
So the one series that I'm really looking forward to, like I care less about Loki. I'm enjoying, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That first episode was very good.
Oh, did we ever get to that? So you really liked it, right?
I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
You know what? I'd give it about that as well. I mean, that opening sequence of him fighting, trying to rescue the captain, him trying to rescue. I mean, once again, the production values on these Disney Plus series are terrific. That opening scene when they're fighting Ariel and they're going through the valley and all this stuff, that was really that was big screen quality. That was surprising to see that it was made just for TV.
Me too. I agree with that. I thought it looked fantastic. I thought that was the best we've seen Falcon ever in anything.
He's a cool character. Even in the comics, he's a cool character.
No, I was a big fan of Falcon when I was growing up. I'm just, I'm not a huge fan of him being the hybrid Captain America Falcon that they did in the comics and that they're trying to do with this series. But I like Falcon. I think he's a cool character. Yeah, but I forgot to mention that. I didn't do a lead in to me and Charlie talking about episode 2.
Oh.
So just accept it. No, but what I was going to say though, the one series that I'm really looking forward to is What If. the animated series.
What If could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that looks so good, and the animation looks good. So I want to see another animated series.
Well, and because it's animated, they can really do some crazy stuff.
Yeah. What about this? Marvel team up.
Marvel team up, I think would be great, but I don't know how you could afford.
No, I'm talking animated.
Oh, animated?
Yeah.
That could be a lot of fun. The two books that when they had the team up books, both of those were a lot of fun, and they had some of my favorite characters in it. Because Marvel team up was the team up of Spider-Man and whoever they wanted to announce.
Yeah.
And Marvel 2-in-1 was the Thing and whoever they wanted to announce.
Yeah.
And
they started to go off on it because I remember my first Marvel team up, I think, was the Human Torch and the Son of Satan.
They had the Human Torch team up a few times, but
it was cool.
Let's face it, Spider-Man is the guy.
He was the main one for sure. Like
right.
They had him with the Hulk, they had him with the Human Torch, Doctor Strange, all these different characters, Iron Man and all that. But I specifically remember, and I researched it. I found it on the internet. Human Torch versus and the Son of Satan. Son of Satan was, again, it was creepy. Just to have a character that was the son of the devil, as a hero. But I love those things because again, you were getting like two for the price of one, and stuff like that. And again, it was kind of cool to see like Johnny Storm teaming up with Spider-Man as opposed to being on the Fantastic Four, where you're normally used to seeing him. And I think that they had Sue. I think she might have teamed up with Spider-Man.
You can see something of a character you might not know a lot about. For me, for example, one thing that sticks out in my head was I never knew much about the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And a Marvel team up issue had Spider-Man and the Ghost Rider, and they were fighting. Do you remember the Orb?
No.
He was like just a motorcycle guy, and he had this big eye helmet. That's all he was. And they're doing something or another, and the Orb takes off this helmet. Well, he was drawn in such a freaky, scary way. I still remember it so vividly because it like freaked me out when I was a kid, because I was like, I never saw a panel like that in a comic book before. But it got me interested in the Ghost Rider, so I started picking up a few issues of the Ghost Rider. I didn't stick with the Ghost Rider, but like I said, it gave me an introduction to a character that I really didn't know much about, and let me, check out those issues a bit more. So, I mean, a team up series would be pretty cool.
I think it would be pretty cool, especially if the animation looks as good as What If.
That's the make or break. The animation has to look good.
Yeah, because like, remember what they did to Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney XD?
And
it was
the Avengers,
Iron Fist.
not Earth the Mightiest Heroes was the best, even though the animation wasn't good. But the voice and the storylines were terrific. But the new Avengers, that style of animation was the same one as Ultimate Spider-Man, and I just couldn't get into it. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
You know what I kind of like? The style of the latest Spider-Man cartoon series, where he's a kid and he's going to like a science school.
Yeah,
I like that style. It's more cartoony, but I kind of like the style of that.
I gave up on it just due to the fact that I just don't think that Disney is good with Spider-Man, like the animated stuff. Like when Sony was handling it, I think it was a lot more better. Anyway.
All
right. Let's wrap this one up. So, Jack, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can always send me an email at jack@WDWNT.com, and comic book questions, movie questions, whatever you want to ask about. I'll take a shot at answering them, and maybe you're email will appear in our viewer mail segment.
And if you want, you can email me at joe@wdwnt.com or send me a friend request on Facebook. And also, if you like our show and enjoy other WDWNT podcasts and would like to become a Patreon supporter, please visit WDWNT's Patreon page at www.patreon.com/WDWNT. And check out Walt Disney World News Today, as well as Universal Parks News Today, for all your Disney and Universal news. And also, please visit the Carousel of Products. There is a ton of fun WDWNT merchandise on sale.
But ask for Nerd Alert merchandise.
Yeah, like they did with Snyder and the Snyder Cut.
Yes.
And then
For
finally,
our millions of fans demand our merchandise.
And then finally, please subscribe to the WDW Entertainment channel on YouTube, where you can find Nerd Alert and other WDWNT original programming available there. And with that, this will be the end of the WDWNT Nerd Alert Season 7, Episode 10. So until next time, see ya.
Good night, and be good to each other.